Welcome to another video on the mathematical fundamentals from Brilliant.org, a North American educational online platform for profit founded in 2012 and co-founded by Sue Keen. So he presented this idea to a series of angel investors and Chamat Palihapitiya, executive senior executive at Facebook from 2007 and 2012 or 2011, sorry. He invests in the idea, so he later on create a fund called Social Capital, where he invests in companies like Slack, for example. So the funny thing is that the reason of looking at this course is to understand the fundamental mechanism and the essential tools, much like when you have a League of Legends or Fortnite character, so you add spell as you move on playing the game. Okay, so in this case, is as I move on playing this game of life, the mathematic fundamental is something important, especially if you are working as a software developer that wants to provide solutions with computers. So understand these fundamentals as a way to not only describe how your thought process, your analytical, your communication, your coding, but also your technical. In the topics like algebra, so mastering algebra, essential tools, as well as number theory and logic. So the first section is what all about generalizations, and I will summarize this as pattern. So the value proposition of this is that, after all, the mathematics is the practice of generalize a lesson or a problem. That's the core of the mathematics. So it's the practice of generalize a lesson you learn. In, for example, in the case of the arithmos and the mathema, to understand where the word mathema comes from, is from the Greek word mathema, or the mathematics. It's from the Greek word mathema, which means learning, or what one gets to know, that which is learned. And this is something interesting because from there you can now have a broad understanding about what is mathematics and why a lot of people out there call it this is the fundamental, because this is things that you can learn based on the patterns that arise and how you can create generalizations based on those patterns using algebra. So that was very, very interesting, very illustrative. How can we use geometry to prove certain patterns? And the other is perspective, which is the second section here, which that is rethink, redraw, and rewrite, rethink, and redraw. And here its focus is on how changing perspective is a powerful problem-solving skills in math and in life. So often, a complex problems with the right perspective suddenly make things straightforward. And that's the beauty of this. So an example that I look here is the mathematical fractions and the patterns that arise. Okay, so for example, and also the patterns that arise in the mathematical fractions greater than 1 and less than 1, and how looking at these patterns from the and see things from different perspectives. Here is the mathematical fractions greater than one or less than one, and how by using this geometry we can discover patterns. So, in other words, if we think our numbers as shape as a triangle, okay, and we multiply by a factor less than one, it removes chunks smaller and smaller each time, ultimately producing a fractal. And this is a pattern. But this here Sierpinski triangle is a pattern. And you may wonder, great, but what does it help to you? So what is the benefit of it? What is the value proposition of this? So by looking at this particular pattern from the mathematical fractions, see how you can apply that into your life. And that's the beauty here. So in the case of the Sierpinski triangle, something that I put it here, okay. Uh, so in the case of the here, so in the case of this Sierpinski triangle, so anytime you multiply by a fraction less than one, so for example, if you want to know what is the three pieces, 3 or 4, okay, 3/4 in a triangle, you will have is this 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So, and if you want to, for example, now apply this to your life, again, this is a huge simplification because life can be more and more complex. But this simplification can give you a more broad perspective and meaning when it comes to this. So relationships, business, and health. So now if you multiply this by by another factor less than one, or by a fraction less than one, let's say 3/4, okay, it will produce now this pattern here, which is called the Sierpinski triangle. So now with this you can say, because if I see instead of numbers as shape, but if I see my life as but if I see my life in these fashions where I can allocate different topics that I know that are important in life, relationship, health, and business, then I can further down now know where are the details about this. For example, in the business, career, finance, and assets. In the case of health, it's fitness, nutrition, and meditate. And in the case of relationship, family, friends, and mentors. So you are slowly, and if you go further and further and further, so you are slowly can now using all of this pattern from the mathematics and apply for clarity and an outcome. Okay? So the outcome here is that you want to build your life using at least these fundamentals. So that's the power and beauty of looking at particular patterns in the mathematics, in this case the mathematical fractions, and see how you can apply it to your life. And I think that this is where the core of the mathematics is, not only be able to learn a lesson or the practice of, it's not only in the knowledge, it's not only on the learning, but also on the practice. So mathematics or mathematicians are those who put up practice this. And this is exactly what I would like to do with my life, and I will encourage you to do that as well with you. So here now we're looking is in this model or in this section is thinking forward and backwards. The how important is especially see the relationship between a statement and a draw conclusions. Okay, so by thinking forward, reading a statement, so by thinking forward, uh, it's like start with through a statement, start to, which is something they describe here. So understand the information you are provide. Key point here: understand the information you have provide, and then use it to specify a solution. This is thinking forward. In other words, understand what you know, or understand what you have, what they give it to you, and then use it uh, to specify a solution. And this is kind of the thing what I'm doing here, or this thinking forward, but for my life. It's like, so understand the information you are provide. For example, with the patterns here, uh, with the pattern here, okay. So understanding the information you have provide, or you are provide, and use it to specify a solution, okay. Uh, and another pattern here, which is another lovely and interesting pattern, is the compound interest, and how powerful is this, despite that it can be quite abstract, because talking about the patterns that arise in the mathematics of fractions, okay, or in other words, is the mathematics of parts. Uh, so fractions is the analysis of mm, numbers that are not a piece of numbers, okay. In this case, is a slice of numbers, the mathematics of fractions. So another pattern called compound interest is if you think your number as shape, and you multiply by a fraction greater than 1, 5/4, for example, and if you again uh, using geometry, and remember, if we think our number as shape, okay, and we multiply it by a factor, or by a, yeah, by a factor greater than 1, it add chunks in a regular way. So it add chunks bigger and bigger each time in a regular way, ultimately producing an infinite growth in an exponential way. Infinite growth in an exponential way with the compound interest. So infinite growth in an exponential way. So for example, in the case of business, if you dedicate your time to understand and to lay out the foundations, let's say, for example, here as a software engineer or as a graphic design, if you dedicate time, I'm not saying 8 hours, 10 hours, you dedicate time to this, okay? And when you dedicate time to the learning and building something, you are in that moment, you focus your attention here, and you do that over time for an outcome. In this case, let's say you want to find a job, okay? So the compound interest of doing that, it will be impacted based on the quality of your focus, and how you can sustain that focus over the days. So here I am a testimonial, I'm a testament of that, because over time I have improved my English skills, in this case my communication, uh, analytical and technical, and also my coding skills. So it's like one is like powerful how my English speaking skills, not only for the technical aspect, but in the day to day life, and for talking abstract concepts. So how my friend, I can do this here in this video. How can I talk to this? So over the last 3 years, I have dedicated time and attention to put up practice this, and here's the outcome. Wonderful. Jesus. And also, so in the case of, for example, learning Vue and Node, and here also with the mathematic fundamentals, yes. So the whole point of looking at this compound interest, right, is that how you can apply for an outcome. Okay. So for example, if you're gonna lose weight, how you can use this abstract pattern in your life. Okay, remember that this is something that comes from the mathematics of fractions. And Warren Buffett, I think it was Warren Buffett, say that this is the eighth wonder in life. This is the eighth wonder of the world, the compound interest. And yeah, I agree with that. So, for example, if you want to lose weight, okay, uh, that's great, that's powerful. So, what you can do is like, yes, for the next 3 months, I'm going to hire a personal trainer, hire nutrition. I'm going to hit the gym. I'm going to stick to their schedule, and I would like to see the outcomes. So, in the next 3 months, you will see, depending on the focus, your attention, how you can now get the outcomes that you want, or how closer you can get for that outcome that you want. And then here's come the hard part, which is how you can integrate that to your life. So it's like, yeah. So it's like, and this is the reason why I'm applying this kind of concept. And when you look at the logic, the mathematical logic, which is another word, is analyze, is see the relationship between a statement and draw conclusions, and how by thinking forward mean is that, well, understand the information first, understand the information you are provide, and then use it to specify a solution. So in this case, the information that I getting from here, for example, in the mathematical fractions, and which is compound interest and fractal. So what are you gonna do with that? So now that you understand this, what are you gonna do? So in my case, actually, I create is so I schedule my days very very hard. Okay, so I schedule my days, for example, like this: Monday 50. So I schedule my days first, because you may wonder, what is the outcome of this? Building the lifestyle I want, that I need. That's the reason why we're doing this. You know, from the from the abstract of mathematics, how you can apply it, how you can use to specify a solution. And the other is thinking backwards, which is enumerate all possible answers for a problem, or enumerate all possible uh, uh, mm, yeah, thinking backward. Okay, so enumerate all possible answers and then use. So the pattern here is that after all you have to use. After all you have to use. So enumerate all possible answers, and then use the information you have to filter down the list. So by looking now at these logic problems here, thinking forward, which is understand. First is understand the understand the information you are provide, and then use it to specify a solution. And the other is understand or enumerate, which is thinking backward, enumerate all the answers and use them and use them to filter out and use the information to filter down the list. So thinking forward and backwards is that by looking at the thing that you can specify first, you were here. So by looking at the thing that you can specify quickly and keeping all the possibility in mind, like this, okay. So by looking at the thing you can specify quickly and keeping all the possibility in mind, you can solve problem more effectively. And this is something true to myself, all right? So by looking at the things you can specify quickly, especially if you hit the gym, so what are the things that I can do today? What are the things that I can specify quickly? And then keeping all the possibilities in mind, okay? And especially, for example, I'm going to do upper body. Okay, I'm gonna do upper body, and that includes some bench press, 4 series 10 reps, 4 of 10, or 4 10 bench press, 4 10 bench press. Then I got to do some curl biceps, 4 10 as well. I'm gonna do is French press, 3 of 10, 3 10, with 15 kilograms, or with 20 liver. How do you say livers? Pounds, 20 pounds. That's right. With 20 pounds. All right. So the whole point of this is that by thinking forward and backward, so by specifying the things, or by clarify, or the thing you have, so the thing you can specify quickly, or by specify the things quickly, or the thing you can specify quickly, in keeping all the possibility in mind, you can solve problems more effectively. So this is actually the core of this, okay. And now let me put a practice here with this, because with this example here, when they say something like this, okay, using what the 3 breathers say, figuring out who is lying and who is being honest. So for example here, again, thinking forward and backward. So thinking forward, okay, so specify is the information, okay, things you can specify quickly. So things that you can know straightforward. Things that you can specify quickly. So Watson say exactly the 2 of us are lying. exactly the two of us are lying. Hudson say exactly the two of us are lying. So Watson, so Watson, so Watson and Hudson, and then you have the light is off, right? And then you have the light is off. Okay, so uh, so Sherlock only cares here. Okay, so Hudson and Watson are discussing about probabilities. Okay, so they say exactly two of the three of us are lying, and exactly two of the three of us are lying. So if Watson, exactly, if Watson and Hudson both are lying, okay, if Watson and Hudson both are lying, uh, okay, if Watson and Hudson both are lying, for accepting them, then it means that they're saying the truth, meaning the exactly. If Watson and Hudson, if Watson and Hudson both are lying, when they say here exactly the two of the three of us are lying, meaning they're saying the truth, okay? So Sherlock must be, Sherlock must be lying, okay? So Sherlock must be lying. So this is one way to look at this, okay? So if both of them are lying, meaning that they're saying the truth, so then Sherlock is now lying here. So Sherlock is not honest, is lying about the light is off, so this is true. And this is interesting here. And this is interesting here because actually that doesn't contradict. This actually, there is no contradiction there. Because for example, if Watson and Hudson, if Watson and Hudson, exactly. So if Watson and Hudson both are saying the truth, okay. So if Watson and Hudson both are saying the truth, so their statements false, are not true. So what they say is a lie. So what they're saying is a lie. And if what they're saying is a lie is true, okay, then Sherlock, based on this premise, then Sherlock must not be saying the truth, must not be honest, so must be lying, so the light is on after all. Holy hell. Okay, thinking forward and backwards. Thing that you can specify quickly and keep all the possibility in mind, okay, can solve problems more effectively. And with that, that'll be all for this video. Take care. Bye bye.